Hello, hello.
Hello.
How's it going? Oh, I realized that your picture looks weird. I need to change that. I should have done this beforehand. Uh,
I can't see it, so I don't know what you're talking about.
well, your picture is making an adjustment.
Oh, I changed my camera earlier.
Oh, you changed your camera on me. That's what it is. Yes. Okay. I have to. I have to figure out how to get you more in the middle again. Now I understand. I
By
understand
middle, you mean
I
top to
understand who
bottom
the
middle?
culprit is now.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're good on that. All right, so we are back on a Tuesday night at 10 o'clock. It is Pastor and Atheist, and we're talking fascism continually on this show. It feels like the rise of fascism in the United States. We talk and Christian nationalism and how we are opposed to that. We don't want it. Uh, any thoughts as we've been kind of been on this little journey talking about stuff in which I'm going to put a little videography about eventually.
Yeah, I was helping my wife get uh, on the subscribe, so it showed up when she wanted to watch it on the television. And I noticed, the things that we had done, and some of them seemed like such a long time ago,
Right.
and
I
and they,
mean,
and they're really not that long.
it's been a long short year. I don't know how to describe it better than that. I
Yeah,
suppose
it's just the
we need to check the old chat. Hello chat. There's
I
one,
got it.
two, three. There it is. All of them. They're all there. Okay, so we are without Bubba this evening. Um, he is on a date.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
and
good.
he told me to tell you and all the people that will end up watching that if there's one good thing about this dystopian Trump era is that a lot of these divorcees have dumped their hardcore Trump husbands, and he's making gains. Is what
Well, I suppose that's one weird
that's
way
what
to
he
look at
said.
it.
I was like, hey, Bubba, had a baby. Do your thing, man.
I should tell our custodian. I should tell our custodian that he's got a better shot now.
I mean, I guess I don't know. Um,
He doesn't. Don't worry.
there is a phenomenon of video content of people putting compilations of frustrated right wing men, and it's a little scary out there where they're getting their information from. And I don't know if I'm a better source. Yes, I am a better source if I had to deal with young men and tell them how to behave than what they're finding with on the right wing manosphere. Scary
Yeah,
stuff.
there's a guy that shows up on my Facebook reels that he's making fun of those guys, and I hear him. I'm like, oh my god, you really think that? And then there's a woman that she started showing up recently, and she's talking about uh, why people are leaving the church,
Mm-hmm.
and some of the stuff she's getting is that manosphere stuff that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the crap that people have told women over the years, even in recent years, and girls. There's another woman that's doing the similar thing, but she's reading comments that people send to her about
Hello, Yes.
when they were
Sorry,
about.
but I gotta interrupt you, Billy. My wife has entered the chat. Sorry,
Oh,
sorry.
well, that's
Yeah,
good.
no, I was very excited to
Well,
see that.
mine I think is going to bed because we got up really early this morning because she had
Oh,
an
that's a
appointment
bummer.
this
We were
morning.
hoping she would get in
I,
there.
I,
But anyway, yes, you
an hour
go
and a
on,
half away.
go on,
So
sir.
so it's like she's reading stuff that youth directors were doing, and dating their youth, and the
That's
church defending it.
yeah,
Uh,
right.
dads who say women who are being told they have to wear a bra young girls told they have to wear a bra to bed because if they get up in the middle of the night to get a drink of water and their father sees them, it might be a problem. I'm like, you've got to be freaking kidding me.
Right.
And
I think what's scary to me also, and I think a lot of this, and hey, I feel bad for, I mean, obviously, I believe that there are good people trying to do good things in the name of, their religion, right? Like that's not for
right.
debate. I believe that I think most people are trying that now. Whether they're effective, that's something else, right? You know,
Hmm.
um, I don't know, man. Like I just feel like I get overwhelmed. I get overwhelmed by people trying to do too much. In the name of right. And when they start, maybe I'm kind of going off on a tangent. We probably need to get back on track. But I get overwhelmed when people try to put their good deeds, and it may not be a good deed in the name of because then it like takes a lot of their, I guess, culpability away. Anyway, I kind of went off on a tangent there, so let's move on.
Well, where you're but where you're not on a tangent is a part of this manosphere stuff we're talking about
Yeah,
the idea that
but
like
this is a part
when
of
a
it, right?
when a
Like,
when a husband marries when a husband and wife get married, he owns her now.
mm-hmm.
The orange one said to was quoted as saying, Epstein stole her from me, referring to
Yeah, this was a
girls.
worker. I mean, are we talking about
Yeah,
Virginia
worker in a
Dufresne?
spa. Yeah, yeah, worker in the spa,
Right.
and apparently there were more than one. That he quote stole her from me, and I'm like, you get that you're talking about a human being that you had stolen from you.
Mm-hmm.
That's
But so
the
like,
president of the United States.
right. But see, the thing is about this is what's scary about it is that like then you have in the same. This is the same thing with like Andrew Tate, right? Like he's literally sex trafficking in some kind of like
Yeah,
way. And but in the same breath, like you'll see uh I okay. Like I said, I don't want to make this about religious stuff, but I see a lot of times with this stuff, people getting the wrong part of the message from the religion. I guess maybe that's why I always felt like we should be here, is to kind of like give you two perspectives, like from Billy, Pastor Billy Wide. This is not
hmm
part of that, right? This is not part of that part of the manosphere. Like you don't have to like take these like really subjugation of women kind of places in the manosphere, you know, that you're going to get, and like have
right.
justification for that in the Bible, right? For instance,
And
or
and
there,
I have
not just the Bible. There's a lot of religious texts, but
yes, and I have argued for years now, 30 plus years. Domestic violence is a scourge on our society.
mhm.
And a big part of why domestic violence happens has to do with the teachings of the church about what a family is, what a husband and wife are, what the role of men and women in a relationship, and that we have not done a good job as the church of pointing out where we're wrong and how we're harming people.
Hmm.
And that means
Do you
pointing
think?
out that the
It, but you made a point about like people leaving the church, right?
yeah, and it had to do with it had to do with not only the the complete abandonment of things like Matthew 25, but also the treatment of women.
Right. Which is what we're going to kind of go
And
into
by
today with
right,
the
and that's where
Isaiah
I think it
60.
does connect with fascism. I think it does connect with fascism because that's part of what undergirds fascism. That there is a not just racially set of people who are superior to others, but also gender wise.
Right. Or just that there is a set of people who are right. You know.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean? Like that's a lot about what's going to be talked about. So I tell you what, let's flash up here. I'm going to flash up the I have it ready. The Umberto Eco's 14 Traits of Fascism. It is boom. And I'll share that with you real quickly and then reshare it to the other side. You got that?
There it is.
Yeah.
I did.
So I think we were on Actions for Action's sake. We had already talked about a bit about it, and then we hadn't listened to them. So I think we'll listen to
Right.
them, and then they're going to give their point. You had 1.5 points as we talked about, and I had 2 full points for this
That's correct.
list.
And as I said, I'm not gonna fight about that half point either. So
Well, no, I mean, right.
I'm not that committed to the half.
They had also said, I think, a full point, but I'm not 100% sure if I remember correctly on what they said. So let's go
I
ahead
think you're right.
and let me put that off there, and then let's get you to see. And start her up.
Find modernism as woke.
Let's call that 1 point.
That's 1 point.
Okay.
Easy, no debate.
But yeah,
All right,
they
let's
said
move on
1
to the
point.
third
Okay,
point.
point 3.
Rejection.
The cult of action for action's sake. That dictates that action is a value in itself and should be taken without intellectual reflection. This, says Eco, is connected with anti-intellectualism and irrationalism and often manifests in attacks on modern culture and science. So, I mean, is there
Yeah.
really any debate here?
Yeah, obvious. I mean, even
The guy in charge of medicine of this country doesn't believe in vaccines. Trump,
Or
the
science.
entire COVID response, let's just blanket, is an example.
anti-science,
Anti-science.
anti-environmentalism.
College is a scam.
Colleges is a
Is a scam is a
Academia.
huge thing that they say, and they want people to, fight back, and we're not going to let them take the Democrats take it from us, or go show them who you are. But it's never like what are we doing for why or what's happening. It's just go scream and cuss.
cult of action for action's sake.
Yeah, that the value of an action is in the process of an action, not what you're trying to achieve.
Just the fact that you're taking action towards anything
yeah.
is
The means
something.
is the only thing that matters. The ends mean nothing.
So would you say that a deluge of executive orders as an attempt just to take action, to say that I'm doing something, I'm taking
I
action
think that's a
towards
great
something
action for
like-
action's sake. I think the incitement of a riot and a potential coup in the last election,
J6,
storming the Capitol, they didn't know what they were doing. He said, "Go fight back."
just do something.
In the speech, he's like, "Go, don't let them take this country from you."
1 point.
1 point. Good.
All right.
I would say just to echo what they're saying in Umberto Eco's 14 traits. What I would do what I would echo here.
J6 storming the Capitol. They didn't know what they were doing. He said,
Is that
"Go."
they don't know what they're doing, right? Like,
Right.
I feel like so many conservative arguments they tend to be so disjointed.
Yeah, there's outrage for the sake of being outraged.
Outrage for the sake of outrage, and I think that kind of fits along with this action for action's sake. We're outraged for the sake of being outraged, so there must be action for the sake of action.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm going to get you mad about this because I want you mad about it, not because I want an outcome that has anything to do with the problem. The problem is we have to defeat the enemy, and the enemy is,
and the enemy is like
the Democrats.
Yeah, who happen to be both cunning and also very stupid at the same time.
That's right. Completely and utterly inept, and yet geniuses.
Evil geniuses, yeah.
That's right.
Go fight back.
Just do something.
In the speech, he's like, "Go! Don't let them take this country from you."
1 point.
1 point. Good.
All right, so they're 3 for
But yeah,
3.
did we give our points on that one? I would give a point for that one. So I'm at 3 points.
As he said, that's a no-brainer.
2.5 for you.
1 point. Yeah.
Right now, the current administration meets criteria.
This is not looking good for them.
All right, 4th point.
Point 4. Disagreement is treason. Fascism devalues intellectual discourse and critical reasoning as barriers to action, as well as out of fear that such analysis will expose the contradictions embodied in the syncretic faith.
So what was that one called again?
Disagreement is treason.
Disagreement. Ask anybody if it's okay to disagree with Donald J.
Rhinos, Republicans who aren't totally in lockstep, you don't get elected.
The press.
They'll primary you. Fox News will ridicule you. I think it's pretty safe to say. Not even much to talk about on that one. That one's just...
If you write something bad about Trump, he will go after you directly. If you try...
Fox News did one not super positive thing, and he's blasting them on Truth Social.
Clearly 1 point for...
I wish I could give it 2.
Disagreement is treason.
This one is a quick and easy one for me as well.
Yeah, it's glaringly obvious. Like the students that are getting their visas revoked because they wrote a paper he didn't like about.
Right.
What the? What do you even think education is about? Well, oh wait, he hasn't really had an education.
Right. Well, I think he's also taken he's actually said that these points of view are treasonous. Like he's said that point blank, but he's actually taken, I would say, if pragmatic steps towards shutting up his detractors, right? So maybe not disagreement is treason, but he's going to take action, in some way, not necessarily treason per se, right?
But just personally, I think about this and I think, man, if I went to the committee we call Pastor Parish Relations Committee, that's our HR department, so to speak, in the United Methodist Church. If I went to my PPR committee and they had concerns and I just said, well, because you don't agree with me, you're not Christian, which is what he's doing. He's saying you're not American.
Mm-hmm.
I'd get run out.
And this is in
really
group,
quick.
out group stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'd get run out because if I don't hear the complaint and say, okay, I see something that I could do better or differently or something to that effect. And yet, we know that the orange one doesn't even accept, he has no need to be asking for forgiveness for anything because he's perfect.
He's said
wrong.
that too. I've never had
I
any
know.
real reason to say I'm sorry,
Yeah,
guys. I
I
don't know
know.
what to tell you.
I don't, and he said to a
Imagine.
Christian interviewer, no, I don't have anything to be forgiven for. And I'm like, all of us are, in my vernacular, all of us are sinners in some way. All of us do things that harm other people in some way. It's, but he's saying,
intentions,
if you harm me, you're bad.
Can also you can harm somebody with not malintent.
Exactly. Yeah. And
So like,
and if we're not making mistakes,
if you have, who, right?
that's right. And if you ever do crossword puzzles, you know the phrase "to err is human."
Right. I mean, why
Because
would I
error
have
is
to
a
know
very common.
crossword puzzle for that? I mean, of course, I mean,
Error is a
ERR
very common
is a
crossword
very
word.
common one in a crossword puzzle. Is that what it is?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. ERR, very common letters, comes up a
Um,
lot.
because I mean, hey, you got to connect those words, right?
Yeah.
All right, so
That's right.
let's move on with these dudes.
Reason.
I wish I could give it 2.
Clearly.
Yeah.
We're at 3.5.
Point 5, fear of difference. So, fear of difference, which fascism seeks to
I'm on a full
exploit and
4.
exacerbate, often in the form of racism or an appeal against foreigners and immigrants.
Oh, the fear of difference.
You're not
I mean, this is a pretty easy one.
Yeah, he's attacking Duke University because of their DEI stuff.
Yeah.
Duke University is a private university, a Christian university, at least on some level.
I mean, I would just say even he came in with, the murderers and the raperists. What did I say? I mean, he said the murderers and the rapists, and they're bringing, I guess, some good people too, something like that, right?
Yeah, but that was the implication, was all of them were criminals. But yeah, and his attack on, he's going back and saying, oh, we need to wipe the records clean about women in the military.
Right.
That they didn't do anything exceptional, therefore, that we don't need to tell that story.
Yes,
The same is true.
And we also need to return the name of Confederate war hero names.
Yeah, but we're not really taking them back to Confederate heroes. We're taking them back to somebody else who had the same name. Somebody else had the same name, who was nobody, by the way.
Right.
There was some guy on a base that was called Bragg, so we're going to go back to that guy, and that's what they're arguing, is they're going to, they think everybody's just blind and naive, which is really arrogant.
And yeah, Chris, that's the point. I mean, like, how can you just, how can you even remotely say I've never had a reason to say I'm sorry, or
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's a good quote to bring in there.
American if you're not white, if you're not straight, if you're not a Republican.
Well, clearly there's a fear of difference, and they foment
foreigners and immigrants,
that fear of difference,
which is often linked to racism.
Yeah. If you could give anything more than 1 point, that
actually, so far, if I could give 2,
this would be the one. But okay, so there's another point. So 5 for 5.
5 for 5. This is not looking good, folks.
4.5.
Okay.
This is more than 33%.
Umberto.
They didn't mention trans.
Well,
so they didn't mention trans.
But I mean, I think that was also part of the rejection of modernism, right? When they were talking about that one.
Yeah. But they use that. They spent $300 million in the ads to, spend to tell people that's what's wrong with them, is the trans people.
I mean, the trans panic worked, in my opinion.
It did. It very much
They tapped into some kind of,
So I'm in a purple state, and so we saw a lot of ads about that.
We saw a lot in a red state.
It's amazing.
Yeah. How prophetic of you.
The other part is I get
6.
2 states.
Sorry, what's that, Billy?
I actually get 3 states of ads because I have a channel that comes from Pittsburgh, so I get Pennsylvania ads from that channel because it's the Pirates and Penguins channel, and then I get West Virginia and Virginia ads because we live on the border.
Right. How does Pittsburgh usually swing politically?
Well, Pittsburgh itself is more Democrat, but not as much as, say, Philadelphia.
Right.
Because it's still an Appalachian city.
Sure. I mean, it's the Steelers, for goodness sake. Like,
Well, there's some good people in the Steelers. There's some not good people in the Steelers too.
All right, let's.
I was reading Chris's statement here.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the Christian
Yeah, I
culture
agree,
demanding
Chris.
grace.
But not willing to give it. I think that's a fair criticism, Chris. I think that's a fair criticism of the church. I think that's so. One of the things I hear from folks that are outside the church, especially atheists, who don't know the Bible very well at all, there's a few verses that are often quoted back to the church folks. Matthew 25 is one of them, rightly so, I might add. But one that is kind of misunderstood is the one about judge not lest ye be judged. That they always quote the King James version of it, because it's not really saying what they think it's saying. It's not the implication that you shouldn't judge anything. It's that you shouldn't judge someone's faith. But beyond that, this is a better way of saying what the intent of that is, which is that demanding grace but not willing to give it. And yeah, I agree, Chris. It's not just the church, but I think it's a fair criticism of the church at times.
Appeal to a frustrated middle class,
Yes.
fearing economic pressure from the demands and aspirations of lower social groups. So the distinction here is everybody appeals to a frustrated middle class. But the distinction is Bernie Sanders appeals to a frustrated middle class by saying billionaires are hoarding wealth, taking all the capital and pushing it up. Fascism says you're scared of the middle class, the poor immigrant will take your job.
I see.
The poor people are going to vote in the Democrats, and they're going to, siphon off the system. Welfare queen. So that's the distinction: is they appeal to the middle class via the people below you want to take what little you have, versus billionaires are taking everything.
Right.
I think that's the distinction.
Well, there is a distinction, although they're both attempting to appeal to a frustrated middle
I agree.
class.
It's not the appealing in and of itself that is the point here.
It's
in the manner of the appeal.
it's what they're
So for me, I would still, even though I think that this is, I think any party is going to try to appeal to a frustrated middle class, and
Yeah.
So the thing is, maybe this point is a little diminished because I just can't think of any scenario in which, you know, a party might do something like try to appeal to a frustrated middle class. However, as the guy on the left, I believe that's Max, was saying, when you're appealing in the way of like, hey, it would be easier for us all to have health care, done, through a social medicine kind of way, right? Versus we need to get rid of the brown people, because
Yeah,
they're the
so where
ones
the
causing the
difference
problems with you not getting jobs or whatever.
Yeah, where the difference lies, I think, is the appeal to dealing with the issues by saying, here's a solution that we offer, versus here's the boogeyman that's causing your problem.
Right.
Now, Bernie may do the same thing by saying the boogeyman is the wealthiest and the corporations, but he still has a solution.
Right. I think maybe it dips more into fascism when it's like, I'm going to appeal to a frustrated middle class with authoritarian answers. Right. To what
Yeah,
you
only I
perceive
can
as
fix
what you perceive as, your problems and your ills. Here's my authoritarian simple answers. And I think that's kind of when it gets to more like the fascism part. So like I would still give this a
Trust me.
point. Like I said, I'd still give this one a point, but like it would be a diminished point because I do think it is true. Now, some people say, well, why don't you just go to half point? Well, no, because I think it deserves a full point. It's just, it is true that both sides do it. It's just they do it maybe a little differently. Within context, one is more vicious than the other.
Well, and not even both sides, all sides.
All sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about, say, Canada, which has more parties, or Britain.
Political power is going to try to find the middle class.
Yeah.
Right. And
there's more people. There's more people. First off, you're going to get more votes.
Generally speaking, right.
And most would argue, and I think not incorrectly, that a strong middle class leads to a stronger country.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what does that mean is another part of the question, but the stronger the middle class means more people are in it, right? Wouldn't that be
Yeah,
what it
I think
means?
that's what that means. I don't think that a strong middle class should mean like they're okay. I don't think a strong middle class should mean like they're so far above the lower classes that the lower classes are also struggling and they are not struggling, right? It should be that the middle class should be judged after we judge how our least taken care of are taken care of, right?
Yes,
in my
I would agree
opinion.
with that.
So like if we start with that baseline, to me that's where the baseline should be, right? And then if we're going to judge the strength of the middle class, what I would say is what means live above, everybody getting their basic needs taken care of, right? And then you start talking about like median incomes and stuff like that. You worry about median incomes after you get base level needs taken care of for all of society. Or at least
and we're in a
opportunity
place now
for it.
where middle class folks even struggle to have health care, which is, should be a basic human right.
What is Plato's story about the Candyman or Socrates?
You got me on that one.
Yeah, type that one in while we move on to the next point. I guess they're going to score this one themselves. Did you score this one? Would you get a full
I'm
point?
with you. I'm going to give it a full point, but I have the same
like reservations about it as well. I think he says the same thing. I've watched this before. I hope it's not just like totally leading my decisions to hear them talk, but
blaming for the frustration of the middle class.
Whereas a progressive would blame the elite.
I'll go a half a point on this one because I feel like both sides could be considered guilty of
That's fair.
something to
And
that
it's not
effect.
unanimous at the moment to conservatives or Republicans, but they do it. So I'm okay with half.
Certainly.
I could hear an argument for a full point very easily. You know what? We'll be generous. So of 6 points, 5.5.
Okay.
0.7.
Yeah.
Obsession with the plot.
Obsession with the plot.
The hyping up of an enemy threat. This often combines an appeal to xenophobia with a fear of disloyalty and sabotage from marginalized groups living within society.
Okay, so promotes conspiracy theories to justify aggression, right? So I think first case we have to say, has there been aggression? Yes. Clearly there has been aggression, right?
Yeah, we're seeing it with masks on federal aid.
I mean, people getting taken out of their people doing it the right way are getting roughed up by ICE and taken from their court hearings and from Home Depots, and it's just like the stories are horrific and they're wanting to crank it up. As we talked about, I think in an episode earlier, the budget for ICE is something crazy. Anyway, did we lose you, Billy? You look frozen.
No, I am.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm reading Chris's.
Oh, you're reading Chris's thing. You were you were just like statue there, and I was like, maybe
I'm
the
trying to
video-
hold it up so it's close to the camera.
Got you. Let's see. What did he say?
Socrates and Plato thought voting was a skill that needed to be taught. And if the voters couldn't rationalize that, yes, sometimes surgery hurts, but will make us better. Versus, look, that guy just wants to hurt you. You know what you want. You know what you want is candy. I think that's what it is. You know you want this candy. Yeah. And he mentioned two people running. One is a doctor, the other's giving candy.
Right. Yeah. So people make the easy choice that makes them feel good.
Because someone convinced them the guy's trying to hurt him. There's
Well, that's part of it too.
woman,
You know, it makes them feel good to say, "Hey, this guy's, you know, he don't want what's best for me. He wants to cut on me, and I want this. And here, also, I get candy for not believing him."
running for office, he said. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, there's a woman that I've seen recently that does. She tries to teach critical thinking, and she. There's another woman too. So there's this guy, he's a chiropractor, and he's trying to make all these health statements about baby formula.
A chiropractor. Wait, hold on. There's a chiropractor making statements about baby formula.
Yeah, he's trying to convince you shouldn't. Everybody should just breastfeed. And I'm like, well, that's not possible for everybody. For one thing, that baby formula in America is poison because of this, that, and the other thing, and he points to things because he's read something somewhere. And the scientist will come on and say, well, the problem is what you're saying is not really accurate scientifically. What we know is these chemicals that women's breast produce certain enzymes, certain nutrients, certain whatever, and what we're trying to do is mimic that when we create a formula.
Sure.
And we can't recreate it directly from breast milk. We have to recreate it other ways. But it's tested and perfectly safe. And it's better that they have it than not. Just like fluoride in water and all that stuff.
Yeah.
All these conspiracy theories. But it's all these people trying to sell their snake oil. And their argument is the institution, the mainstream people, the whatever, they are harming you.
They're the ones who's lying.
And they just don't. Yeah, they just don't want to know. They don't want you to know.
So I think this is where we get into some trouble, though, because it's not like there hasn't been, instances of systemic lying.
Smoking.
Yeah, right. Or just.
But what defeated that? What defeated that was not moving away from science. What defeated that was running toward science. Scientific evidence defeated.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there's been systemic lying, right? Like,
yes,
I mean it. Yeah, so I mean it gets back to also the cult of tradition too. Like once you get an established, fact or whatever, you keep testing the fact if you're doing the science. But if you're doing the cult of tradition thing, and Umberto Eco's 14 Features of Fascism, where the truth has already been revealed, you don't question it.
Right. And if you have invested your identity into the idea that Donald Trump is your savior, there isn't anything that's going to change your mind, no matter how many facts you put up there. Well, that fact is bad because it came from these people or those people or whatever. It doesn't matter what you saw on January 6th. Those people were, they were good patriots who were just defending America. It doesn't matter the reality of it. They'll find a rationalization.
Right.
Because.
And this is the plot. This is the plot that they're talking about, right?
Exactly.
When you're talking about obsession with the
exactly
plot.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to me, I mean, this is a full point for me.
Absolutely.
I feel like I've seen that on several bumper stickers.
Yeah, actually, I feel like
with rainbow flags on them.
Yeah, an obsession with the plot. So the emphasis of hyping up an enemy, using xenophobia to hype up that enemy,
They're eating the dogs and cats.
They're not Americans. They're immigrants. They're eating the dogs and cats, and they're gonna destroy this country from the inside.
Let's just have a moment of silence that the guy who said that won. A moment of silence for the end of America, because the guy who said that still won anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good enough.
steal the votes or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's a good point.
It's a witch hunt.
JD's lead up to the election, I think, beautifully embodies that set number 7.
Yeah, the idea of obsession with that part of the plot. 1 point. Seems like there's a lot of overlap with some of these ideas as well.
Some of these, there are a lot of overlapping, but they are distinct.
All right. Yeah, that's a point for that one.
Number 8. Fascist societies rhetorically cast their enemies as, quote, at the same time, too strong and too weak.
We've already mentioned
Cast
this
enemies as too
strong and too weak. On one hand, fascists play up the power of certain disfavored elites
they need to
to
have
encourage
it
their
needs to be
followers
flexible for them
a sense
to,
of
like,
grievance and humiliation.
people
On the
who
other
try to
hand,
manipulate.
fascist leaders point to a decadence of those elites as proof of their ultimate feebleness in the face of overwhelming popular will. So Democrats are both equally destroying this country because they're weak and Biden was weak, and also Biden stole the election.
1 point.
1 point. Pretty simple. That's a big tell in my
Pretty easy point for me as well.
And he controls the deep state, so that he's got this hundreds of thousands of people
That's right.
Yeah.
It's both the deep state, and he doesn't even know where he's at, Joe Biden.
That's right.
Yeah. It's amazing. Also, that's part of the plot. We've mentioned this before. A lot of these they kind of like run together, but that would also be part of the plot, right? He's an evil genius.
Yeah. And if
But
you
he's
think
also
about
inept, so we have to get rid of this inept evil genius.
That's right. And if you think about it, they also go back to, because it helps their narrative that if Joe Biden wasn't the evil genius, it's really Obama that was the evil genius, and that he's still manipulating things, and he has all this power. When if he had that much power, Kamala would be president.
Yeah. I mean, but the timeline doesn't make sense on any of the stuff that he claims, right? Like, for instance,
Oh yeah.
the election was stolen when he was in power, right? And
Yep.
when Biden was in power, they tried to steal it again, but it was just too. Like, what are you talking about? He's in power and he's an evil genius. He's in power.
That's right. He's the Wizard of Oz.
So yeah, this one's an easy point, really.
My opinion, a very big tell is you can't
Yeah.
cast your opponents as they're totally useless. They have no power, and they're gonna destroy all of us.
Yeah.
What?
Yes, I feel like you've heard that line as well. Even with what's going on now with Iran, and Iran is both weak and possibly a nuclear power.
They're gonna have a nuclear bomb
this was
in a
back
week,
little
and they're gonna
bit.
blow the whole world up.
And right before we really knew what was happening with Iran, when the more I think about that situation, by the way, I get really frustrated with the peace solution was to let Iran destroy one of our or shoot bombs at one of the military bases or whatever. Like that's fine, you can do that, and then we just call it a day. Listen, I guess it worked, but like, is that how you do it? Anyway,
That's the thing that bothers me about war. The more we see it in our own lifetime versus looking back at World War II and things like that, what we see is whether it's full-blown war or a short-term thing, it's a game.
I mean, a power.
How are
game,
they going
I
to
guess?
retaliate? It's a power game. It's all it is.
Yeah, I mean, like,
And, with the Putin and the Ukraine situation, it's a different kind of power game, but because it is a long-term thing, and it is a siege, and it's that but with a lot of these things, especially the Middle East, it's, well, they fired at us, so now we've got to fire this many rockets at them,
Are you
and that should
keeping?
make us even.
Yeah. Are you keeping up with the stuff that's going on in the Ukraine at all? In Russia?
Uh, I try to, but I don't watch
I
the
don't.
news as much as
I don't know if I got a
you
batch
know.
of like Western propaganda, but I'm under the impression that Russia's economy is doing really really bad right now, and
Well,
I
I
think
think they should be.
like I don't. I guess listen, Donald Trump, what would they say? The sun shines on a dog's ass every now and then, or whatever, something like that.
Yeah,
A broken
right.
clock's right twice a day. Uh, so him, upping the ceasefire, like window. Believe it or not, I was like,
Yeah,
hey, that was pretty good. You know,
yeah. It's like, oh, you mean the thing we've been telling him since before he got elected? He's finally starting to figure out that Putin is untrustworthy.
well, I just think he's in the pocket, like in some way to Russia, and I don't. It didn't have to be like any kind of conspiracy theory kind of way. I think that Putin
Right.
let.
I saw something
I
that
think
was,
Putin let Trump do business in Russia.
yeah,
And there's a
that's
conflict of
true. Yeah.
interest there. That's it. It could
I
be something
I
as simple
saw
as that. It doesn't have to be, Putin's got the P tapes. You know,
Yeah, that's right. Well, I saw something that Rachel Maddow did that one of my friends posted. It didn't come up on and what she was saying, there was a place where the White House put out a statement and showed a video regarding an interview that the two of them did together. Um, and the question, and I think this probably goes back all the way to, 2020. I don't know. But what they had shown was that the question was asked, did you want Donald Trump to become president, and did you direct any of your people to impact that in any
you're
way?
talking about this is
And
2016. I mean, 20,
I
yeah,
I don't
this is
yeah,
after the
I'm not sure.
2016. Yeah, that's what this was. This was after the 2016 election. They're both standing side by
Right.
side, and they're
Correct.
yes, and one of the reporters asks, "Did you
He has a two-part statement.
yeah, what do
Did
you
you want
make
him to win?
right?
Did you
Well,
want
then
him to win, and did you direct any of your people to help
right,
him
and
win?
then they said no, we didn't. I mean, they denied it, and then Trump said, "I have no reason to believe Russia, over my own intelligence
No,
agency."
no, no, that's not what happened in
Am I
this
thinking of
one.
a
So
different?
in this one, maybe because this is the one. So what she showed was the long thing was the man asked that two-part question. What they did was they took a question that was asked earlier where Trump said something, and then they took the second part of the question, which was, did you direct any of your operatives or your people to support this? And he said Putin's answer was, yes, I did. But they had clipped out the full question and the lead into that question, which was, did you want Trump to win, and did you put your people out there to do work to make that happen? And the answer, yes, I did, was to that question, not to the question that they presented it as.
Mm-hmm.
And so she showed the whole video. Now, I like Rachel Maddow. She's fun to watch sometimes, but I don't watch her regularly because, uh, it's
I mean,
it's so it's so far over that it's hard to know what's.
again, this is the thing about this stuff that we're even talking about. It clearly has a team, right? I think that's
Yeah,
frustrating to any. That's frustrating to anybody generally. I mean, I'm generally on the
yeah,
Rachel Maddow team, when it comes to
sure, yeah,
issues. But I mean,
yeah,
it feels greasy when it's so overt.
yeah. That's exactly right. It is so overt. I mean, I'm like, well,
Even if I
am I
agree with that,
getting
it's
the
like this
full
is
story?
greasy. It's overt.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
This is
And
this
my
is what
sister's a
they,
big fan of. My sister's a big fan of Rachel Maddow, and I respect Rachel Maddow, and I think she does a good job of digging in to stuff and getting to the truth in many
Mhm.
ways. But again, it's overt and it's over the top, and it's there's no chance of there being uh, a different solution or answer or part of the story than what she presents.
Sure.
She's just not who I watch.
Anyway, let's see if we can get back on track here. So we're still talking about enemies, being both too strong and too weak at the same time.
It's
To me,
astonishing.
it's a full point.
Absolutely.
Easily.
This is one of those ones. Is a point all we can give?
Right. So for me, I'm 8 for 8. You're 7.5 for 8. I think they're somewhere around the same, 7 for 8.
They're at 7.5.
Yeah.
And we're going to destroy their country in a week. Like, what?
Okay. Yeah, I feel like that's a point to cast the
agree.
enemy as both too strong and too weak.
Yes.
It's just mental gymnastics and twisting to confuse the populace.
Confuse the populace, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Number 9.
Yep.
Pacifism is trafficking with the enemy. Because life is permanent warfare, there must always be an enemy to fight. So this principle leads to a fundamental contradiction within fascism, the incompatibility of ultimate triumph with perpetual war. So he references Hitler and Mussolini, constantly seeking an enemy.
So this one's a little bit complicated for me in terms of the answer, because I do think that he at least tries to put out the message that he's anti-war. I don't think.
But his solution to anti-war is violence.
Yeah, and I don't think he has any real say. I mean, when for instance, he's I'm going to end Ukraine and Russia in a day, even before I get elected. Even before I get elected, I'll have it done. Right?
Yeah,
it's obviously still going.
Yeah, you know who made a deal before he got elected, before he was inaugurated, was Ronald Reagan. The hostages came home after, an hour after Jimmy Carter was no longer the president. And that was done.
I don't know much about this. Are you talking about the Iran-Contra affair? Is this what you're talking about?
No, that's after this. This was the Iran hostages that were.
Iran hostages.
440.
Okay.
Yeah, 444 days held hostage. They were embassy employees, and I forget the number of.
Yeah, I'm having trouble remembering it.
Well, how old were you in 1980?
Well, I was 3, but I mean, from studying.
Yeah, that's why
history. These are things that I've heard of, but I'm trying to
Well, this is one that I remember from my childhood. Yeah, I was 14 at that time, so I was old enough to pay attention. Plus, it was on the news all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The number, how many days,
sure,
all of that was on the news.
That's interesting.
And Carter sent a team to try to rescue them, and the helicopter crashed, and so we lost 6. I don't know if they were SEALs. I don't think they were SEAls, but they lost 6
servicemen that were doing the operation.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it was 6 people. The helicopter crashed in the desert, and so it was a big deal. But when you look back at it, what they're saying, what they've looked at was, when was the deal made, and was it Reagan manipulating elections? Because don't get it solved before the election, because because we don't want Carter to get elected. He might get elected if he was able to do that. And then not only that, but wait until you release them until after, so that it happens on my watch. And there was some real behind the scenes kind of stuff that came out much later that suggests that was in fact what happened.
Some politicking in a dubious way.
Yeah, with people's lives.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
But this orange guy, he doesn't. He doesn't even try to. He'd probably find a way to say, well, I support the winners, not the
Yeah.
hostages.
He's a big fan of just being on the winning side, or who he thinks is going to be
Right.
on the winning side.
That's right. And that's the other thing that he argues that
He's obsessed
the
with at least
best
saying
deal
he's the
maker-
winner.
Yeah, and which is what he posted today on the White House.
Did you see the golf thing?
I did see that.
That's funny.
I saw
Cheating in golf.
snippets of it, but yeah, but that's known. He cheats at golf.
Well, he's a cheat.
But he posted today, never get tired of winning, and I'm like, yeah, well, you just are about to destroy the environment further, and all those people that you were promising you'd fix the inflation and
Beef
make
as high
sure
as it's
that
ever
their
been.
healthcare would not be in trouble. All of those promises you made to them,
Right.
those are the people that got you elected because they're the ones that actually voted. There aren't that many billionaires to get you elected, voting wise.
I mean, if you can pay for messaging, there's enough billionaires.
Right. That's exactly right. He got messaging.
You get one of them to buy
but
Twitter.
when it came down to it,
they're no longer
when it came
in
down
cahoots.
to it, that's true. But when it came down to it, it's still those people that have to go vote. Just Elon Musk, no matter how much money he put into it, he could only vote one time. But he influenced a lot of people to go vote. All of that happens, and that's everybody does that, of course.
But let me step back. I don't think he's talking about like pacifism when I'm reading through this list. I don't think they're necessarily talking about pacifism on a like global war type scale. I think they're just talking about like, can we agree with people that have a different point of view and make a compromise, right? Like there can't. I think what they might be saying here is that compromise is trafficking with the enemy in a way. Pacifism is trafficking with the enemy. I think it might just be like what we ideologically stand against, we must always fight. That would to me be like more like what fascism.
Okay, so I'm going to bring in the Bible here for you.
Okay, well,
in the
that's kinda
Gospel
why
of
you're
Luke, that's right. In the Gospel of Luke, there are, and I'm going to give some credit here to Reverend Sylvia Jones, who served with me many years ago. In the Gospel of Luke, there is a statement that is made twice by Jesus. That is seemingly similar statement, but there is a caveat to be understood here. So in one place he says, "If you are not for me, you are against me." The other statement is, "If you're not against me, you're for me." And when you think about it, that means there are three people involved. There's three types of people involved. Those that are all in for you, for Jesus in this case.
Mm-hmm.
Those that are all against you, anti-Jesus people. And then there's those people in the middle who are, well, I don't care one way or the other. The apathetic folks. So why would that group be shifted from one side to the other in those two statements? Well, in one statement, there is conflict. There is a great deal of conflict going on. And so when he says, "If you're not for me, you're against me." In other words, if there is a divide that is happening in our culture that is, people are being abused. You remember the old poem, first they came for, then they came for, then they came for.
Mm-hmm.
That poem illustrates this idea that if you don't stand up, if you're in the middle and you don't stand up to defend, in this case of the scripture, if you don't stand up to defend Jesus then you might as well be against him because you're helping those that are opposing him.
Right.
In the other story, the other story, it's just the opposite. That it's not conflict. The people in the middle they're not helping the people that are anti-Jesus. They're just trying to do their thing. So we're in that situation where there's conflict, and so when pacifism, if that's what it means to me, it means that you're cohorting with the enemy, or whatever the language was.
You're tolerating them.
You're tolerating them.
Yeah. So to me, what I'm saying is, you're saying tolerance is not what we do. We don't tolerate those ideas that that they have. That's what I'm kind of getting out of number 9 here. Like, if I were to, here, I'll show it.
Yeah.
Thing if we need to see it, but
yeah, that might help.
yeah. There you go. So number 9, peace is equated with weakness. Life is framed as perpetual warfare. Life is framed like, they're not saying like actual war.
Oh yeah.
As I started to think, like, they're saying like we're always against like this frame of mind, right? Like I don't think this means like actual. He's not talking about like actual war. I think there is probably something that you can talk about.
Yeah, a few years ago, I was in a study group, and in the group, one of the guys he wasn't our leader, but he was one of the people that kind of helped coordinate making us. I'm sure we had a place and time to meet together, and it was a group of pastors that got together to talk about the scripture for the week and that kind of thing. And at one point, he was real introspective person, and he said, I've really been doing some thinking about spiritual warfare. And I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? And there was this movement.
Well, what does that even mean?
Yeah, well, there was this movement of this concept of spiritual warfare. And if you think about it in the most basic sense, it's that the devil's out to get us.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what I would think, but it's so literal and believing in like
it is that there's this cosmic war that's going on all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Not just between me and God and the devil. It's not the devil made me do it. It's all of us, and that there's this constant war. So you hear the phrases like prayer warriors,
Christian nationalists.
We're defending
Christian nationalists,
and Christian nationalism
are drawn to probably this kind of this framework in number 9.
Yeah, and the enemy is portrayed as this. It's this spiritual enemy. So if you feel that way, then the idea that peace is equated with weakness,
tolerance of somebody
fits
different,
right into that.
Like I said, I don't think this one is. I don't think this one is actual. We're not talking about actual war. Maybe they'll clear it up for us. I don't remember. It's been a while.
I think that's these folks having this fake warfare going on because that gives them energy, that gives them motivation to do things.
We've talked about this guy before, Greg Locke, who's the hate preacher in Lebanon, Tennessee.
Oh yeah. Ugh.
Yeah, I mean he's this type of
very much so. And whether or not this comes from the administration, which I think you're right, it does. It certainly is been fomented in the fundamentalist so-called evangelical churches that are,
we might need to check in. Churches. We might need to check in on Greg Locke and see how he's doing with this whole Epstein thing.
Epstein, yeah, he's probably found a good excuse.
You think he's got an excuse? I don't know.
It'd be interesting to find out.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to like search too hard because I don't really want to see that guy too much.
That's right. Well, I saw a poll today that how does the orange one poll among Republicans, and all of the normal
the true believers are still true believing.
Yeah, well, it's immigration and economy and all those. He's like 75%, 85% on immigration, 35% support. I think he's doing a good job with the Epstein case. 35% of Republicans.
Which, I mean, there's certainly a rift there. The question is,
It is interesting.
the question is what excuses are most of those 65% of Republicans making? Because if you look at other polls, I'm pretty sure that the Republicans are still right behind. The people who voted Republican are not like, they're not leaving him. It's the independents.
They're not leaving him.
It's the independents that are like dropping him like a fly.
Well, no, these
or bad habit.
These were Republicans. And it wasn't the independents. They had, narrowed it down to this is the Republican response. But they support him on all these other things.
But what I'm saying is
they'll forgive that.
I've heard a lot of these Republicans saying stuff like, well, we're blaming Bondi or Kash Patel. They don't blame Trump himself, or if they're not going down that road, they don't like the way it's
Mike
being.
Johnson.
Yeah, they don't like the way it's being handled, and Trump really needs to do something about paying Bondi. That's kind of how they'll say that. The other side of the people that are making excuses about this. Now, this might be of the people who the 35%. Those are the people that just like, if Trump says that he didn't do it, he didn't do it. And that's all I need, right? There's those people.
I agree. Yeah.
And then there's the people that are like, 15 wasn't that old, 50 years ago, right? That's what they'll. That's.
There's probably a few of those. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Was that the dog?
Yeah, that was Phoebe. She, I guess she saw an animal. I like to run a little TV behind me, so that the reflection.
I thought that was a sneeze.
No. That was a dog barking. She came to say hi to me as we were having these talks. So
my cat just left, which is good because I won't be doing this the whole time.
You have your cat doing your thing. So, but yeah. So if we're rating this one, now that I finally realized what they were talking about, it's not actual. I would give this like a total full point. So I'm still like, I'm 9 for 9.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think that's accurate.
But you can never achieve the peace in the society you claim, the superior society, if you're like, or ultimate triumph if you're at perpetual war.
So here's my interpretation of that for the Trump regime.
Okay, yeah.
In the modern age.
Yeah, it doesn't manifest as like guns and bullets are the same.
Right. In the modern age, I think it's less about guns and bullets and more about economic war. So
cultural war, too.
Yeah, I mean, even just tariffs.
Hello?
And this
seeking out fights because.
Is that Billy?
I said hello. I'm not getting the video. And
oh, I'm sorry. I forgot that we
had. I was trying, and you just kept going. So.
yeah. I started listening to the video, and I guess I.
You got so enthralled. You just ended the stream.
Yeah, I did that. I didn't mean to do that either. So here we go. Yeah.
This stream has ended.
Fundamental contradiction.
Got you now? We got it.
Yes.
Within fascism, the incompatibility of ultimate triumph with perpetual war. So he references Hitler and Mussolini, like constantly seeking an enemy, but you can never achieve the peace in the society you claim, the superior society.
I don't even know what together is, Chris.
Like, or ultimate triumph if you're at perpetual war.
So here's my interpretation of that for the Trump regime.
Okay, yeah.
In the modern age.
Yeah, it doesn't manifest as like guns and bullets are the same.
Right. In the modern age, I think it's less about guns and bullets and more about economic war. So
cultural war, too.
Yeah, I mean, even just tariffs and this
seeking out fights because life is war, and
the constant game of going after our enemies in an economic way,
our allies
in an economic way. I feel like
it's finding a new enemy within the Republican Party to revitalize the base.
Yeah.
Oh, we hate Mitt Romney now, even though he ran for president.
But
4 years before.
But he does identify pacifism specifically, and although
I actually think that these guys missed the boat on what Echo was saying. Like I said, I think he's just basically saying tolerance.
Yeah, I feel like we certainly went a different direction than they did.
Yeah.
Is not a pacifist, I don't think. I'm leaning towards no point on this one.
I'm leaning half.
Okay.
Because I agree that the rhetoric usually isn't so obvious. The action, I think, falls pretty in line. So it's a bit of a mixed signal.
Okay. Half a point.
I think if that's fair.
Okay.
I agree that they're not sitting here preaching war.
Certainly not.
But they behave in such a manner.
Yeah.
With the tariffs, with our allies, with China.
You could consider the support of Israel and what Israel is doing and the decisions that they're making
as perpetual war
relating to war in the Middle East could be considered along this. So, all right, half a point. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, because it's not the same militant rhetoric used by former regimes.
Right. It's not like Bush.
Yeah, not even like Bush. Bush was even more. Yeah. So
more like war.
Even previous Republicans. So I can. That's fair. That's definitely a fair point.
Yep.
Number 10, contempt for the weak, which is uncomfortably.
What's that, Billy?
So let me chime in on this a second. They were talking about Hitler, Mussolini. They were talking about the classic fascist of the 20th century. When you talk about pacifist, one of the most well-known pacifists was Dietrich Bonhoeffer. And Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who was a devout pacifist and a theologian.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with him. I don't think.
He was a theologian, Christian theologian. There was some of the best theologians of the 20th century came out of Germany in that time period, and literally came out of Germany. But Bonhoeffer was still in Germany, and he was arrested and in prison. And as a pacifist, he didn't believe in violence as an answer or a solution to anything, and yet he worked on a plot to kill Hitler because he felt that that's how bad this was. This was so bad that even as a pacifist, killing him saves lives. And
sure, that's a complicated place to be.
It is, and so I'm thinking about that as they talk about this, and I think one of the things that
in a while.
Oh yeah, and one of the things that kind of stood out in what they're talking about to me, yes, the orange one does not promote war, but he also lets it happen where he could say something. And he, this week he's actually said something negative about Netanyahu because he saw children starving and went, "Oh, wait, that's actual starvation."
This is where I feel like Trump is he's led by his nose by Stephen Miller.
Yes, that's right.
Just the worst people, right? And I think he is very much shielded from the way things are, and the things that are resulting from the pieces of paper that he's signing. You know what I mean? I don't think that he is fully aware of, the damage that is being done in Gaza. I think maybe he is, I don't know. Maybe he is, but he just.
Well, he thought of it like a deal maker.
Maybe let me rephrase. He wasn't made to know how much people would not like, children getting murdered,
genocide,
right, and genocide. And now that he's seeing polls that are like, we don't like what's going on in Gaza, he's like, now he's changing his tune. This is more in line with who Donald Trump is.
Yeah, it's CNN's been doing a documentary on the Live Aid. Yeah, Bob Geldof back in the. It's a big music concert. You remember that? Queen stole the show. And Freddie, yeah. But the Bob Geldof, after they did the song, which was "Do They Know It's Christmas," his neighbor, who was a photographer who had been documenting what was happening in Ethiopia with the starvation of children and all that, came back because the newspaper quit covering his picture. They said, we've covered the story now. And he said, but there's children still dying by the thousands. And he took Bob Geldof. He said, you had this song and I want you to go with me. And Bob Geldof was like, I'm not even sure what I'm doing here because I'm just some rock star. I'm just a rock musician. I don't belong here. But it had a great impact on him because he saw the reality of it and he felt pretty guilty. But then he ran into Mother Teresa. It was kind of a chance meeting, and their people arranged for them to sit down and talk at an airport or something. And she said something to me that really resonated. She said, I can't do what you do and you can't do what I do, but we both must do it. And Bob Geldof came back, and that was kind of that trip was kind of the Live Aid concert.
So that was like the census. Yeah. So, and then the follow up to that was the USA to Africa stuff, right? Is that how this went?
Well, so that was already kind of starting, and there's kind of a overlap there. Belafonte, Harry Belafonte had contacted Bob Geldof. He said, "Boy, this is the world I'm in now." Now Harry Belafonte, I think it was the producer. Shoot.
Of the We Are the World USA to Africa stuff?
Yeah, We Are the World one.
So Belafonte was a big part of it, but it was if I remember correctly, it was
the producer I'm talking about.
It was a Lionel Richie, Michael Jackson, Wonder push.
Right, mostly
Belafonte. I think.
Well, he was the one that kind of got them on it.
I'm going from what I remember from the Netflix documentary, The Greatest Night in Show.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
But it's the producer that I'm talking about. He was one of the greatest producers in music history.
Well, Belafonte was definitely a part of that. The producer. Oh, you're talking. Oh, the producer.
Now you feel bad because you can't think of his name.
Quincy Jones.
Quincy Jones. Yeah. So Quincy Jones and Harry Belafonte calls up Bob Geldof and says, "We want to do what you did."
Yeah.
And then Quincy Jones and Harry Belafonte kind of, because Harry Belafonte, I guess, kind of made the connection. And then Quincy Jones said, "Well, we'll get Lionel and Michael on there." And Stevie was not available when they were writing or something. But
from what I understand is that Stevie Wonder was a flake. That's what it sounded like.
Yeah.
Like he showed up,
but a piano
when Stevie Wonder time.
Yeah, but piano genius, so he was.
Well, I mean,
able
listen,
to
my
play
favorite
things.
part of that whole my favorite part of that whole documentary.
The documentary.
Was when he was trying to get Bob Dylan to sing like Bob Dylan. So I'm having this, they're talking about Stevie Wonder,
That was priceless.
Yeah, because Bob Dylan, he's in there with like Daryl Hall and Cyndi Lauper and just Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder. I mean, powerhouse vocalists. And
it was
Bob Dylan is not. He is not that. He don't sing parts. Bob Dylan barely sings his own part.
That's right. It was a genius move. It was a genius move to say, "All right, I got an idea. Let's put Bruce over here with Bob, and do this little thing."
Yeah, I guess that was what. That was what I can't remember. It was Quincy Jones who had decided the pairings or whatever and that was a part of the genius.
Yeah, and they had already had, and this was like they were going to do the Bob Dylan thing after all of that.
Yeah. Well, we have derailed talking about it.
We have, yeah, but anyway, yeah. So fascist. Anyway, Bob Geldof made the point that their hunger is real. So
yes.
Yeah, I hear what these guys are saying, but I still think it's a whole point.
Yeah, I've got the whole point for that one too. So this next one, I'm going to skip ahead just a little bit. Oh no, they're on it. So contempt for the week. They're there. I thought we were.
Hmm.
I mean, we could probably just, if we're talking about contempt for the week, I think what's going on with the homeless stuff that he's trying out right now, which could end up just being like homeless concentration camps. I have no idea why this thing's
Number 10.
there we go.
Contempt for the weak, which is uncomfortably married to the chauvinistic popular elitism, in which every member of society is superior to outsiders by virtue of belonging to the in-group.
The ubiquitous understanding of the concept of calling half of America snowflakes
Is instantly contempt for the weak.
I think it automatically qualifies
Any
as
governmental system that helps anybody who's poor, they seek to destroy. With the big beautiful bill, they're trying to cut Medicaid, Medicare, only helps those who aren't rich. I feel like is a very clear point. I feel
contempt for the weak.
Yeah, I've got
Definitely.
Trump goes after that all the
That's
time.
his favorite thing in the world.
One solid point for the contempt for the weak argument.
Okay. Number 11.
Yes.
Everybody is educated to become a hero, which leads to the embrace of a cult of death. Eco observes, the Ur-fascist hero is impatient to die. In his impatience, he more frequently sends other people to death. This is a tricky one. You got to pay attention a little for this one. I think J6 is the most obvious, bold, loud example of this.
Okay.
I think
I think that this one's kind of baked into what I would consider just general American fascism. Maybe Osteria
more
will
about that.
I have an opinion on that one. I'd love to hear from him. It's been a while, man. How's it going?
I'd like to hear say a little more about what you're thinking. Well, maybe he will reply.
Okay, so American fascism, everybody is educated.
Why it's baked in.
Okay, so when I say baked in, the founding of this country is celebrated with the heroes of that endeavor from the Revolutionary War. Like, so for instance, George Washington, Paul Revere. Like, these are people that we are, we're aware of, right? Now, this is not to say that they aren't actually, heroes, right? It's just that it's
right.
This is like sort of fetishized, right? This sort of like service to put your life on the line for the things that you believe in. Now, in this case, we are to believe that the Revolutionary War was to form a more perfect union, right? Democracy, right? And people that would be free to rule themselves. Now, how they went into practice it later is for some debate whether they did that at all. But
right. Sure.
The point, okay, but again, what ends up happening is that we sort of like bake in this sort of like American military hero, right? One that will, no matter what.
So is this different though? Is this different than American exceptionalism?
I would say so. This is more. No, I think this is part of that as well. If you're a part of the in group, you are available to be a hero and a martyr for this country at any moment. It could be you, right? And again, I think that we try to bake this into like general. I mean, like as long as I can remember, this has kind of been baked in to just general American. There's a point when it's respect for the veterans, right? And this is not to denigrate that. There's a point when it becomes fetishizing what it is. And I think that's where the line is, right?
Yeah, so let me ask you, I'm trying to get a better understanding of this concept that they're talking about here. So let me ask this. So my brother was a Army veteran. Went to Iraq later on at 41 years old. That's how long ago that's been. Went to Iraq to serve on
You
an
went
Air Force.
at
I think
age
it's an Air
41?
Force base. At age 41, went back to the Army.
Went back
National
and served again,
Guard. Yeah. What's the other? It's not National Guard. It's something like that. Anyway. And so he went back at 41 years ago. Had to go through some sort of basic training as well, and get himself back in shape. He's a big guy, and when he went to the Army originally, he was 198 pounds and 6'4". He's still 6'4". He was just a lot more than 198 pounds. So he went back and went in and served a year over in Iraq. Mostly he was watching. He was surveilling through the cameras in a room most of the time. That's when he was on duty, he was in a room watching video of helicopters and satellites and all that stuff along the border of Syria. So one of the things that I respect him for beyond that is that he, so people got into this idea, we need to support our troops, so what we need to do is thank them for their service every chance we can. And Eric kind of feels like, I don't need you to thank me for my service every chance I get. You can. If you see that I'm a servant, have served, that's fine, but you don't have to interrupt my dinner to tell me thank you for your service. You don't have to stop me in the street and say thank you for your service.
Right. Again, this is not a target for necessarily. When I'm talking about this is
right.
not necessarily a target
and
for
what
the
I'm saying
actual
is
military people. I'm saying that this
right.
is for the people who fetishize, like, in service of an idealized cause, as it's like, reference, right? So like, this doesn't even have to be military.
I think that's,
it could be like somebody bombed a Planned Parenthood, and I agree with him, right? Like this could be.
Oh yeah.
That's what I mean by that, right? Like,
well, let me say this first. I think that in his case, my brother's case, part of why it bothers him when people do that all the time is not just because he's being disturbed at dinner or something like that, but because it's been fetishized. He sees it as they're doing that for them.
Mm-hmm.
It's their way of feeling like they're a part of making this happen.
It's a nationalist
but
pride thing.
Exactly. And it's more important than anything else. But I also hear you saying that there are other ways besides the military that somebody can be a hero, and now it's not being a hero for it's not being a hero for the nation it's being a hero for your side of the agenda.
So we're very close to watching a video here. If we can push through these other
so we'll have
points
time
real quick where joining ICE.
Kristi Noem puts it up. Yeah.
Kristi Noem is a hero, and they're just going out there and just brutalizing like people trying to like be here, at the Home Depot. So anyway,
exactly.
Let's see if we can get through that. But I think that's the point, is that like, you got these folks are ICE. To me, ICE, signing up for ICE as it's some kind of noble thing.
Yeah.
It would be an example of like, you're a hero. You're eradicating the world, the U.S. of this immigrant threat, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on with that.
Yeah, I agree. Go on.
The Gretchen Whitmer plot to like kidnap her, I think, is another example. They were definitely riled up by Trump. Right-wing terrorism in this country is by far the leading
domestic terror problem. Yeah.
Terror problem. Not even just in general.
In general, terror.
Not even for it. Just anything that's happening here.
All forms of terror problem.
And that happened within this border.
Yep.
Is right-wing violence.
Okay.
Propped up by the narrative that Trump and his cohorts speak, but then the people under him who have permission to really ramp it up, right? Like a Charlie Kirk, who aren't in the admin, so can take what Trump says and say, see, Look what they're doing.
I'll give it a half a point.
I think half a point.
I think it's the best I can do. I hear your argument. I feel like the implication of everybody's a hero is more aggressive.
I would actually, on this one, I would not give. This is one where I would say like Trump does not get a point. Like if we're weighing this against Donald Trump, and the reason why I say that is like, you know, I mean, he might give this message that everybody's a hero, but I think that he definitely wants the message to be that he is the ultimate hero, and it is only him.
Yeah, I think I was thinking. Here's my line on this that I'm thinking is that he's really failing miserably at it if he is trying to do this.
Yeah. So
because it's ego driven.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with you on that.
My mic went really low, Chris. I might have got too far away from it. I was trying to get to my dog, who was hollering back here, so I have to give her belly rubs as we're talking. So I think it's because my mouth got too far away.
Yes.
Then
it's not the main selling point of Trump. I agree. It happens, and they do use it, but it's not the selling point.
Yeah, yeah.
Half, I'm fine with half.
All right, let's go to 12.
Machismo.
What's 12?
Machismo.
That's
so. This is what we're talking about at the beginning. The thing that overwhelms me is this like overwhelming machismo. You know. And
yeah, this is a 1.
Yeah, this is a 1. We could probably skip even there.
You know,
so we can, yeah.
He believes he's strong and beautiful and all that, and so does all these weird people think that we got to go back to manhood.
Right.
Actually,
is the sense of being manly and self-reliant a contempt associated with a strong sense of masculine pride?
The number 12
is machismo
definition,
which sublimates the difficult work of permanent war and heroism into the sexual sphere. Fascists thus hold both disdain for women and intolerance and condemnation for non-standard sexual habits, from chastity to homosexuality.
Okay.
So he uses the term machismo.
Oh, and I want to be close to my
very clear. I mean,
but it's the.
I mean, the manosphere. I mean, that he dominated in 2024.
Clear, it's a fucking point, right? But to help everyone else, it's Andrew Tate.
I was just gonna say Andrew Tate.
It's Fresh and Fit, little less known to people who might watch, but Fresh and Fit is another red pill, any red pill space.
Yeah.
Manosphere.
Yeah.
All of them are like the spiritual embodiment of point 12.
Machismo.
Be a man, work out, don't cry.
Machismo is a hallmark of fascism. Solid point.
100% is.
It needs no argument or discussion.
I can't even. It's so obvious.
It's clearly a point.
So obvious.
Okay, fascinating. 13.
13. Selective populism.
Remember you remember the story about the Eastern Orthodox Church was getting men because they saw machoism in the way they taught Christian faith.
This is the cherry picking that they wanted.
It's very much in the religious right realm of supporting this concept. This is a 1. This is the biggest one.
Selective populism. Okay, what does he have to say
The
about
people,
this?
conceived monolithically, have a common will, distinct from and superior to the viewpoint of any individual. As no mass of people can ever be truly unanimous, the leader holds himself out as the interpreter of the popular will, though truly he alone dictates it. Fascists use this concept to delegitimize democratic institutions they accuse of no longer representing the voice of the people.
Boy, this is.
I would say Trump seeking.
Say that again, Billy.
This is the Republican talking point for the last 20 years. The American people say, regardless of what you say, regardless of what the what the vote says, the American people.
I think that's
real Americans.
Yeah, it's the when they say real Americans is where we get.
But even before that, the Republicans running for Congress and Senate, House and Senate, and also ones that were running for president would use the phrase, the American people say all the time. It's not even just with other caveats, not even with the real Americans thing. Now it's become real American.
Right. Are you a real American, Billy?
Yes. I was born here.
I mean, yeah, that's birthright citizenship.
I mean, I'm a third generation at least.
I don't know. I mean, like, there's some people that say, I don't know, you have progressive values, Billy. You may not be fully.
That's right. Progressive values were on me.
The
I'm really a
unitary
Canadian in
executive theory, where
Mhm.
Congress doesn't represent the people's will and the Supreme Court doesn't. So Trump is going to do everything by himself. I think this one's a pretty good one where he's like, he's MAGA, he represents MAGA. Everybody refers to Trump as their
Daddy
like
Trump.
proudly too, which is very weird.
Yeah.
I think this one's a
Creepy.
little more subtle
Mm-hmm.
if you're not paying attention, if you're not tapped in.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to think that they think that MAGA is the common will and it is the correct and superior common will, even though you can ignore all the other polling and everything else that suggests
That's not the popular will.
not the popular will. It doesn't matter.
Claiming the popular
And
will.
then they use the leader
Real Americans.
is the interpreter and the arbiter of the will of the people, MAGA. What they determine is the superior viewpoint.
That's a point.
And they use it to delegitimize democratic institutions. All the elections are stolen.
I've got,
J6,
I've got a
again, I
point
can
on that.
reference J6 again.
Clearly a point.
Last point. I'm sad it's the end. I'm having a blast.
Well,
Newspeak. Fascism employs and promotes an impoverished vocabulary in order to limit critical reasoning. Woke, snowflake,
Just-
libtard,
just throw shade,
trigger,
vague insults.
just buzzwords that really don't mean a whole lot. Not like a word that actually does mean.
I think for this one, again, this one's one where I would give a point, but I'd also put the asterisk by it that, like, I think that many political parties might practice this kind of like tactic, competing political parties.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I would make one caveat on that, and what I see is that it happens, especially in the non-official places, like he said, libtard, that kind of language.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's
The
not like that's not used from the. I've seen we've all been on
yeah, but
WBIR's. Well, if you're in Knoxville, you've been on WBIR's Facebook page and watched the people fight or read the people fight.
well, but there is a skill set that the Republicans have mastered to, for instance, they've turned words like woke,
Yeah.
and they've used a word that nobody who ever had anything to do with
Critical
it.
race theory.
Yeah, and also political correctness, which is the people who invented political correctness abandoned that a long time ago.
Right.
But they use that phrase, and
As well,
but then they
they've
also
changed the tone of it, right? Like
right they've demonized anybody who has a view that's
woke in
different than
particular
theirs.
was it was a black folk thing saying, hey, there's systemic forces going against you. Stay woke, right? It
Right,
was
be
it wasn't
alert.
even a big deal, but then it started being basically everything that people on the right don't like is woke.
Yeah,
means something like snowflake, woke, triggered, libtard, newspeak.
News speak?
The Orwellian word newspeak.
News speak.
Newspeak. Newspeak.
That's
So
interesting.
they employ and promote a vocabulary that doesn't allow for critical analysis or critical thinking.
Just woke is bad.
Woke is bad.
I don't know what it is.
Not an analysis of what any of it means. Woke is bad.
Woke is bad. You don't know what it is, but
They
it's bad.
can't even define woke.
I
So
mean,
I think that's a clear example of it. They do a ton of other ones, but that's the really popular one that everyone knows.
yeah.
Because if you ask to define woke, they can't define it. We barely can. But it's the point of it is to not allow for analysis.
I mean, that's a point.
It's an easy point. How many points is that?
yeah.
All right.
So I had all of them except for
That one.
right. Everybody's educated to become a hero. Like I think it's kind of there, but
Yeah.
I don't know if Trump himself is like That's it.
He's not very good at it.
I'm giving him generously. I'm giving him like, I don't know if that's really what he kind of says it, but he doesn't.
He does have people that say it for him, but you're right, he doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, he's very much like the hero, right? Like,
yeah, it
but
really is about him.
Yeah, but listen, right-wing fascism in the United States very much itself has everybody's educated to become a hero. Like it's
Yes.
there, right?
I think that even in the places where we didn't give it a full point, there's an argument to be made.
Sure. So for you, I think it was like 12 and a half, and for me it's 13.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, I think that's where we came to.
And what he says about it is that, like, really the systems can kind of congeal around one and then kind of spread out to a lot of these other points. But like, to me, this is just like clear indication that this is kind of like what's going on in the United States right now, right? Which leads us to the next video, which is a video you sent me earlier.
And I think we should say if people are not aware of this video that he's commenting on, it apparently is a propaganda piece that Kristi Noem put out.
Yeah. So like this is funded with government money.
That's right.
Is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Bible verse I think about sometimes, many times.
All right, let's see it.
It goes, "And I heard the voice of the Lord saying, Whom shall I send? And who will go for us?"
Can roll on for a long time. Roll on for a long time.
But before we move on, Chris hit us with that's a misrepresentation of Orwell's point. So I'd like fire it up, Chris. Let's see what you got. I'm curious what his interpretation is.
And that's speaking of newspeak, I think he's talking
Newspeak,
about, right?
Yeah, I think so. Because I mean that's the one we're talking about. I don't think it's news speak. I think it's newspeak. I could be on that.
I think it's intended to blend the word news and speak. But I also haven't read the book.
Sooner or later, gotta cut you down. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down.
And I said, "Here am I. Send me."
You threw your rock and hide your hand. Working in the dark as your fellow man. It's gotta be black and white. It's time to die. Be brought to life. Run on for a long time. Run on for a long time. Run on for a long time. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down.
So there's an awful lot going on in this video, and I want to discuss four main things. First, we have the quotation of Isaiah 6, Isaiah's prophetic call, and here it is being leveraged to authorize and to rationalize and to romanticize Department of Homeland Security's abuses of, brutalizations of, and illegal violations of the human and the constitutional rights of not just undocumented immigrants, but also asylum seekers, legal immigrants, as well as even U.S. citizens. And that quote is coming from a 2014 movie called Fury, where a character named Boyd Bible Swan is telling the other World War II soldiers in this tank with him about to face a battle where they are surely going to die, that they're engaged in a righteous act in fighting against fascism. And he brings up Isaiah 6 to suggest that he has been called by God to go fight fascists, to go fight Nazis. We also have audio of the Black Rebel Motorcycle Club's cover of a song that is usually called God's Gonna Cut You Down, but it also goes by Run On for a Long Time, a song most famously recorded by Johnny Cash. And then in terms of imagery, we have a bunch of dark night vision-esque imagery showing Kristi Noem and the Department of Homeland Security in helicopters patrolling the border, ostensibly on the lookout for violent criminals. So let's talk one by one about all the problems with this audio and this imagery. First, we're quoting Isaiah 6. What is Isaiah's call? Well, here's the text of Isaiah 6, 9 and 10. And he said, "Go and say to this people, keep listening but do not comprehend, keep looking but do not understand. Make the mind of this people dull and stop their ears and shut their eyes, so that they may not look with their eyes and listen with their ears and comprehend with their minds and turn and be healed." That's
just confusing the way it's written in general, I think.
Yeah, well, that happens.
an odd message to give to the prophet Isaiah. It's basically saying, go preach to this people that you don't want them to listen to your preaching. It's kind of similar to when God told Moses, go tell Pharaoh, let my people go, and I'm going to make sure Pharaoh doesn't listen to you. And the reason for this messaging is because this is an ex eventu prophecy. This is being written well after the consequences about which the prophet is warning. And the point is to make it seem like the prophetic call is already aware of what's going to happen in the future. The prophet's message is not going to work. And so they're writing that knowledge of the message not working directly into the prophecy. So what...
I'm going to, real quickly, I'm going to see what Chris had to say about this. Gotcha.
So the guy on the left hasn't read Orwell. Neither did the guy on the right.
I would probably need to see a greater synopsis of what Umberto Eco was trying to say to get a full read. Yeah, I don't know much. I probably need to really dive more into Orwell myself to have a better understanding. But in the end, for me, it's if it's like if we're going by Chris's definition here, and we're trying to like make it compatible, I guess you could still probably find a way to do that. But yeah, so maybe I don't know. I don't know how it really changes it all that much. To be fair, like if I would give it a point or not. It's not that it's left or right. I think a lot of the things that we talked about were not necessarily left or right. It's just how Trump is employing them currently.
Yes, I would agree with that. He's sending you something.
Yeah, well, we're about to be pushed up against it for the last 10 minutes. So let's get through some more of what McLaughlin is saying.
Yeah.
What was Isaiah trying to get the people to do? A number of things. And one of the central things was to stop worshiping the gods of other nations. And another major thing was the prophetic critique. It was social and cosmic justice. You see this all throughout Isaiah. We can start in Isaiah 1, verses 16 and 17. Wash yourselves, make yourselves clean, remove your evil deeds from before my eyes. Cease to do evil, learn to do good, seek justice, rescue the oppressed, defend the orphan, plead for the widow. The oppressed, the orphan, the widow, the poor, the foreigner. These were all the canary in the coal mine of social and cosmic justice. Social balance, order, justice was a reflection of cosmic balance, order, justice. If one was out of whack, the other was out of whack. And so what Isaiah is saying is that things are too unequal. You are not meeting the needs of the oppressed, the orphan, the widow. You are abusing them. You are taking advantage of them. You are engaged in the public-facing displays of piety, while behind everybody's back, you are trampling on the poor and the orphan and the widow to advance your own interests. And the prophetic critique is precisely that. the public performance of those displays of piety becomes sinful when you undermine the entire purpose of the law. And according to the prophetic critique, the purpose of the law is to generate a righteous, a just, an equitable society where everybody has what they need. Now,
do you have any commentary in reflection on like even modern day times regarding this?
So, one of the core things that I have carried with me for years, one of the core scripture passages comes from Micah, where it's presented as like a little court case going on, and there's a God is the defendant, or I can't remember plaintiff. Anyway, the person says, "With what shall I come before the Lord and give all these huge sacrifices? Should I come with these huge giant sacrifices?" And no, that's not the answer. And in the end, it says, "Well, what then must I do? And what does the Lord require of me?" And the answer is to do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with God. So to do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with God has been kind of a core belief for me to stand behind that. But then also, and this is also in the book of Isaiah, but a quote that Jesus did as he began his ministry, because he was reading from this text. In chapter 61, Isaiah says, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me. He has sent me to bring good news to the oppressed, to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives and release to the prisoners, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor." And it goes on from there, but that's the part that's quoted in Luke. And the idea there is, this is what Dan McLaughlin is saying, is that the orphan, the widow, the oppressed, those people are, if those people are not being cared for, if they're not being, if there's no justice for them, then there's no justice at all. And
what we're witnessing in this video from the DHS, Department of Homeland Security, is sort of the opposite of what that even stands
very
for.
much the opposite.
So this video, it just stands in complete contradiction.
Yes, complete contradiction. And also it criminalizes the people that they're going, but as you said earlier, when that it also creates that heroism idea that if you join, this is a recruitment video, if you join us, you'll be a part of this noble event for our country. And by the way, you get to wear a mask so nobody has to look at you. I think it's ironic that these people now they want to wear masks.
Well, the thing is, if you're a person, now I understand that they've got some funding for this and they're giving out signing bonuses, and I understand that there's some people that money talks, and I would like to say to those people, there's not an amount of money that's going to be worth this, by the end of it.
Yeah, well, they got more than some money.
But what I would say, probably even more so, is that there is a group of people that are like, this is their wet dream, and they get paid for it.
Yeah, they're playing to those people.
Yeah, they get to put on a mask and do what they've always wanted to do. And here's a signing bonus to do it.
And the mask has no consequences.
That shit is awful, in my opinion. So
it is. And I think I appreciate him, Dan, going after the use of this text. I think after this, he even goes into the pointing out that the movie that he's quoting this text in
also doesn't stand for what they're saying in the video. And then also further, I think the band,
"Send me against the fascists."
Yeah, the band is like, you have to take that down. You don't have the rights.
Yeah. Can you find that letter?
And then furthermore, even Johnny Cash was quite the progressive himself.
Yeah.
So ultimately, this is where we're at.
And I
Bill-
appreciated the letter they sent the band.
Yes, I appreciated the very strong worded, like, take it down. We don't give you the right.
Yeah, take it down. And then at the end, oh, and by the way,
Yeah.
F you.
Yeah, that, well, and that's, you love
Quoting
an
Stephen
artist.
Colbert.
Right.
Well, they're quoting Stephen Colbert. That was
are they quoting Colbert there?
I think that was a direct homage to, by the way, I stand with Stephen Colbert on this too. I don't know. Maybe they were just saying it, but I heard it that way.
I think, Billy, this is a good place for us to stop for the week. We might come back in next week and finish the rest of that video, but ultimately, I think McLaughlin got to the point pretty quick and said, "This is." I mean, he's going to describe why it's, I guess, full of shit, right?
Yeah,
even further.
And I love that he.
Yeah, his
I love
face
that he goes out of his realm of expertise.
This is a pace that says all of this is full of shit.
That's right. And at the end, he says, "Grow the heck up."
Yeah. All right. Well, let's another week, week speaking out against fascism in the best way that we can. I guess I don't know if it's the best way, but we're doing what we can, right?
It is a way.
It is a way, and I'm appreciative of you doing it again with me week after week, sir. And with that, I think we will move on to next week and new topics.
All right.
Or maybe even the same topic, but at least a new strain of it.
Yeah.
All right, Chris. Thanks for all the links. I'll check those out later, and all the input, because there are some things I don't. I mean, Orwell was something I looked at in my 20s. I don't know if I even read it with any meaning. Like, definitely didn't read it from.
Yeah, I never actually picked it up and read it.
Kind of like picking up little pieces here and there, as people would talk about it, because people do talk about it. We'll do this thing again next week, and again, thank you, and thank you, Chris and Osteria. You didn't say anything but hello. I wish we would have seen some more words from Osteria, because that is our. I believe that is our.
Yeah, it'd be nice to hear some
Northern European, Finland, I think.
Yeah.
Or was that?
And to hear some.
That was English.
No, you're right. The first one.
Yeah. So.
Norway or.
Norway, yeah, something like that. All right, Billy, thank you, and to the rest of you, good night. We'll see you later.